The Career Development Center is here to talk to you about the TypeFocus7 Career Assessment. This assessment is available for you for free on your Go PFW account on the Career Development tab. To access it, log into your Go PFW account and then click on the Career Development tab here. Once you have clicked on this, you should see this page here. In the center at the top of the page, you will see the TypeFocus7 Career Assessment. You'll need to click on that and create an account with TypeFocus7. Once you have created an account, you can then begin your career assessments. Here I have an example of an assessment that has already been completed. So the most important part of the TypeFocus7 is step 1. This is where you can take the personality, interests, skills, and values assessments, and this will help you throughout the rest of the steps in the TypeFocus7. The first one is personality. This is an example of an individual who has already completed this assessment. You can see their MBTI type here as ESFJ. If we scroll down, you can read more about what the ESFJ is like or what your individual personality type is like. If you want to know more about what each preference means, click on Type Factors and Work. Here it explains the differences between each preference. The first preference is extroversion or introversion. This preference answers the question, what captures people's attention? People with a preference for extroversion focus their attention outwards, and so are drawn to the external world of action. Because their focus is outwards, they tend to become more talkative and their interests more varied. Extroverts tend to talk sometimes without thinking. People with a preference for introversion focus their attention inwards and so are drawn to the inner world of understanding. Because their focus is inwards, they tend to become more thoughtful and their interests are deeper. Introverts tend to think sometimes without talking. The next preference is sensing or intuition. And this answers the question, how do people find out about their world? People with a preference for sensing learn about their world through experience. Because they focus on what they have seen or heard or touched, they develop a practical and realistic outlook on the world. People with a preference for intuition go beyond their direct experience and focus on the meaning of the information. This gives them a big picture outlook on life, and they tend to become creative and innovative. The third preference is thinking or feeling. This answers the question, how do people make decisions? People with a preference for thinking make decisions based on impersonal criteria like principles and logic. Because they apply the same rules to everyone, they tend to become fair and businesslike. People with a preference for feeling make decisions based on their own personal values. This often means taking into account the impact that decision will have on someone's life. Because they treat everyone individually, they tend to become empathetic and compassionate. The fourth preference is judging or perceiving. This answers the question, how do people approach life? People with a preference for judging want their lives to be predictable, so they make decisions quickly. Judging types tend to be organized. People with a preference for perceiving want their lives to be open to new experience, so they postpone decisions. Perceiving types tend to be spontaneous. So that goes through the different preferences. And then if we go back to the career summary, looking at mine, the example here, ESFJ, I can then decide if I agree with this personality type or if I think that I am something different. For example, if you are in the somewhat clear section, you probably are close to being in the middle between the two preferences. which means you can go either way. So my lowest one is sensing. If this was closer to the somewhat clear here, I might say that I can be either sensing or intuitive. If I wanted to change this and see what my results were like with a different personality type, all I have to do is click on this change button here. This allows me to highlight a different personality type. Like I mentioned in the example, let's say that I believe that I'm intuition rather than sensing. So I click on this and then I click submit. Then my results will be different for career opportunities. Personal summary gives you another outlook on what your personality type means. I would encourage you to read through this section as well to decide if you agree or disagree with your personality type. There's a video here on career success, and then here's a type table of all the different personality types that you may have. There are 16 different types, and you can see the highlighted one here is the one that is shown as the example, ESFJ. If you're curious about other types, all you have to do is hover over them and read the descriptions listed. And the preference clarity shows that I'm, on this example, very clear on most of the preferences. That means that I probably agree with what my results are showing. I'm going to click back on Career Summary, and then I'm going to look down here with occupations matched to your personality with related majors. So if you're someone that is considering graduate school, you might want to click on Graduate Degree or Higher, and it will list occupations that require an advanced degree. If you are only considering obtaining a 4-year degree, you might want to click on 4-year degree occupations listed here to see what aligns with your personality type. So I am most likely going to just get a 4-year degree. I'll click on that and look at the examples here. You can also look at occupations matched to your personality without related majors at the bottom. So that's the first assessment that you will take. The next one is interests. So this example shows that this person's top interests are social, enterprising, and a tie between artistic and investigative. The ones listed in red or highlighted in red are your top 3. So this automatically highlights the top 3 interests that you have. However, since I am tied here, I could really go between artistic and investigative. If I scroll down, I can read what each interest means. So my top one's social, and that's for individuals who prefer work that provides service to others, works in a friendly, non-competitive environment, values being understanding and helpful on the job, rewards being sensitive to others' needs and feelings. This is someone who might enjoy working with people. My next one is enterprising. So this is someone who prefers to work with rewards leadership, maybe risky but also rewarding, values decision making, and expects a take charge attitude. And then my third one is listed as artistic, and this prefers work that allows independence of freedom and expression, values imagination, music, art, sculpture, writing, photography, deals with forms, designs, and patterns, allows them to work on their own. So, if you are someone that has artistic in their top 3, this doesn't necessarily mean that you are artistic, it just means that you appreciate these things listed here. Enjoy self-expression and freedom to create without rules. The fourth one is investigative. So prefers work that focuses on ideas, requires an extensive amount of thinking, analyzes information and uses logic to address problems, emphasizes the need for theory, enjoys working with ideas and solving puzzles. The next one is conventional, prefers work that follows set procedures, establishes clear lines of authority, emphasizes data over ideas, and rewards attention and detail. Enjoys working with rules and data. My last one is realistic. Prefers work that rewards skillful use of tools, often takes place outside an office, deals with practical hands-on problems, offers time to work by themselves. Enjoys working with material things. So social and enterprising are pretty high considering the other types. So I would say that I agree that social and enterprising are my top two based on the descriptions down below. So here you can click on a video with more information about what each one means. And then if you click on SubInterests, this tab here lists different sub-interests based on the interest type. So if I look at mine, social is my top one. Some sub-interests include counseling, education, supportive, religious, healthcare. The next one I had was enterprising. Marketing, sales, human resources, law, entrepreneur. I think that makes sense. So, depending on what your major is, your interest might align with that. For example, for psychology students, I see a lot of students having social and investigative as their top two interests. So looking at the sub-interest, I can see how that would make sense since counseling is listed and education, and a lot of psychology majors tend to go in those kinds of fields. If I look at investigative sub-interest, social science is listed. Again, that would include psychology. So those results are not too surprising based on the students' majors. Think about how your major might relate to the sub-interests of your interest types. And then you can click on personal beliefs as the last tab here. And read more about why it's important to find a career that matches your interests. It says here there is a good research to show that students who choose majors that fit their interests get better grades, graduate sooner, and more frequently than those who don't. So if we go down to the bottom here, again, you can click on occupations matched to your interests with related majors, or occupations matched to your interests without related majors. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to focus on four-year degree here. Click on it, and then it will show the occupations that align with the interests here, listed here. So the next career assessment is your skills. And you're going to choose your skills yourself. And you can do the same thing and look at occupations that match your skills with related majors and without related majors. So if I click on four-year degree again, it will show the occupations listed. Similar to skills, in the value section, you're going to choose your own values, and if I scroll down, it will list occupations that match with my values. So now I'm going to go back to the home page. and we reviewed the personality, interest, skills, and values assessments on step 1. Once you have completed all 4 of those, you can move on to step 2. Step 2 is really neat because it shows you the overlap between all 4 assessments. So I have 0 occupations that match with all 4 of my assessments. However, I have 4 occupations that match with at least 3 of my assessments. So I'm going to look into that and see what occupations align with my assessments. So here it lists the occupation with related majors, and then the red W here is going to take you to the website, the catalog for that major. So if I click on this one here, it'll take me to the hospitality management page through Purdue University Fort Wayne. Here it tells me which assessments match with first line supervisors of personal service workers. So it matches with my interests, skills, and values here. I have 29 occupations that match with at least 2 of my assessments. So obviously this list is a lot longer because it's less assessments. So I'm going to scroll down and look at this list. I've already saved a few occupations that I think I would be interested in. One of them is a human resources manager, and another one is a human resource specialist. And then I also saved psychology because I think psychology would be a really good major for me. If you want to know how to save an occupation or a major, click on it. Save this occupation for future reference. And then you need to include how interested you are in it. Well, I think I'm only somewhat interested, so I'm going to click this one. Rate and save this occupation for future reference. You'll need this for step 3. If you want to save another major, click on this. Save this major for future reference. And then you need to rate your interest in this major. So I think I'm interested in this major, and I'm going to save it as this. So that's how you would save occupations and majors in your results for the personality, skills, values, and interest assessment. If you already know what you want to major in but don't know what occupations you might want to do, you can explore occupations supported by any major here. So I clicked that I was interested in psychology before, so I'm going to click on psychology, and it lists different occupations that I could pursue with a psychology degree. You can also explore other ways down here. I would encourage you to click on these other links below to explore more about what occupations you think you might want to pursue. Now I'm going to go back to the home page. So step 1 and step 2 are the most important steps to complete before you move on to the other steps. If you're wanting to meet with someone from our office, we'd be happy to go over your results with you and talk to you more about different majors and career paths that you can take. We're here to help you and offer a lot of resources in your search and in your process as you decide what you want to do after graduation. I would also encourage you to go through these other steps here. In this video, we are only going to explore step 1 and step 2. However, there is a lot of helpful information in the other steps, so please take the time to at least review some of it on your own time, and then if you have any questions, follow up with the Career Development Center. Thank you for listening to the presentation, and I hope you know more about the TypeFocus7 and are able to use it as a resource for you to explore different occupations.